Tonight, NDC drops explosive secret recording on which the Attorney General is heard in conversation with third accused person in ambulance trial, asking him to purportedly help him make his case.
You are not privy to this one, I'm telling you.
In my view, if we agree to this theory, it's so simple, the theory of the case.
Not agree to the way you want to go, the way you want to go about it.
So let's agree. Let's describe it that way. Let's describe it that way. Do you want to go about it?
Speaking fine, as you are saying, if I agree to your position, how you want to go about it, and how you want me to go about my answering questions and things, I'll be dishonest. I'll be assisting for someone I know is completely innocent about this. For example, to force him to be jailed.
The NDC has also been displaying secret WhatsApp messages between the Attorney General and the third accused, which they say does not back. They claim that this was part of a grand scheme, including a sitting Supreme Court judge, to entrap the Attorney General.
This is Top Story with Evans Mensah.
And Top Story is always brought to you by Telecel. And indeed, it's been an explosive day of secret recordings being played. And the NDC had promised last week that indeed they were going to put out a secret recording which they believed really exposed an attempt by the Attorney General to lead a particular witness in the case, a man that they are trying, a third accused in the ambulance case, to give incriminating evidence that has been falsified against a minority leader, case letter false. Again, today, the NDC National Chairman, Johnson Ketia, himself addressed a news conference and played that secret tape. My colleague is in the studio with me, Kweku Asante. I'm also joined in the studio by Kojo Brace, because this matter is a very fluid, developing story. The MPP is also just about addressing a news conference. There's a fair bit we learned today, including WhatsApp messages that the NDC produced today that confirmed indeed that the Attorney General initiated the conversation for the meetings to be had between himself and Richard Jakpa, the third accused in this particular case, and had in one of the instances recommended where the meeting should take place. We've seen and heard the accusations that there may have been an ambush involved in this case where the Attorney General did not know about these meetings but had been called, and the surprise was sprung on him. Involving a sitting Supreme Court judge. Now, we'll read those WhatsApp messages for you so you can make up your own minds about this. But Kweku Asante just returned from that particular press conference, and he joins me now. And at the heart of this case, is part of what you've covered in court, is the letters of credit that the AG had been referring to. That some payments were made even when they shouldn't have been made in the clearing of these ambulances. As it turns out today in the recording, this became a subject of a heated exchange between the Attorney General and the third accused. Who's the third accused, by the way?
That is Richard Jakpa. He owned Jakpa Business, the company that made a proposal to the health ministry and was accepted to supply some ambulances. And Evans, like you said, the entire case against the minority leader is built upon the execution of a letters of credit, and he signed that letter authorizing the release of those letters of credit. It came to light in this tape that the NDC put out today that the Attorney General and Richard Jakpa had really difference in opinion as to how LCs worked. And so in the tape that the NDC have published, which we are going to play to you, the NDC have put out, and you can clearly see Richard Jakpa trying to explain to the Attorney General how LCs work so that they can come to the same page. Although in later tapes, you would hear the Attorney General ask Richard Jakpa to take another stance that he believes would have made his case for him. But listen to this.
The financial instrument for the project is an irrevocable letter of credit. So that credit letter had already been sent.
Hold on, no problem. But in my view, that letter of credit area, the contract requires that you pay by letters of credit, not so.
Yes. In addition, we should establish it upon the front of the contract. So already you have paid.
Upon the signing of the contract for every 50 ambulance.
Yes. That no, upon the signing of the contract for every 50 ambulance, since there was no advance mobilization, advance payment, that LC was a security that you have to establish ahead.
No problem. The signing of the contract for every 50 ambulance. Is it the contract for every 50 ambulance?
Pardon?
Is it the contract for? I'm saying upon the signing of the contract for every 50 ambulance.
Yes.
Is it the contract for every 50 ambulance?
The contract is for 200 ambulances in tranches of 50.
Good, hold on. So that contract for 50 ambulance is different from this one?
No. It is, the contract is one contract for 200 ambulances, which has been broken down within the contract for every few, you establish LC for every 50 tranche. So you have 4 LCs for the 200 ambulances.
No, that part I disagree with you. But if you look at the terms of the contract, it's quite clear. And it should not be difficult for you to accept because really it doesn't put you in any problem at all. That does not put you into any difficulty. And you know the Minister of Health, the Minister of Finance. So for me, if you accept that, then it doesn't put you in any difficulty. See,
the problem I have in accepting that for you, is that in there are letters that confirm that both from government and from our principal, that is for every 50 ambulances. That confirms that. And I'll be tendering those letters in. So I cannot go against what the letters say and the contracts say because I was the agent at that time. Jakpa business was the agent.
And then the most explosive part, Kweku.
Yes. It gets to the point where the Attorney General is asking Richard Jakpa to accept his version of story. And he says again, like you heard in this tape, that will not pose any challenge to you if you make that admission in open court. And so he presses on Jakpa to accept those versions of the story. And then Jakpa then comes in and says that I cannot do that because if I do that, that will incriminate someone I know is innocent.
The goods were shipped.
No.
The goods got to Ghana.
No.
Oh, yeah.
He couldn't have the supply. There is no way under the sun he could have cashed the LC before the shipping document, which were condition precedent, was presented to Ghana International Bank. Even when he presented the documents to Ghana International Bank refused to honor the LC, raising issues of discrepancy, which came back to Bank of Ghana, which later went to the Ministry of Health, and then Animana authorized Bank of Ghana through Ministry of Finance to pay because they had sorted out the discrepancies with Big C. That time, around this time, or the ambulances had already arrived in Ghana. You are not privy to this one, I'm telling you.
In my view, if we agree to this theory, it's so simple, the theory of the case.
Not agree to the way you want to go, the way you want to go about it.
So let's agree. Let's describe it that way. Let's describe it that way. Do you want to go about it?
Okay,
if
fine.
Agree to it this way. For me, it makes it simple.
Yes, it will make it fine.
It doesn't involve any difficulty for you.
Yes, I agree. I understand your point. It doesn't.
When you say there's no advancement, yes. When you say there's no advancement, ordinarily meaning in Ghana that you don't pay until you get your goods. Now the contract here, even the clear terms, unless maybe you guys did not draft the contract, it says LCs on site of goods shall be established upon the signing of the contract for every future.
No, the contract was drafted by government. It was done by government.
Oh, yes.
And it was AG department perused the contract and approved the contract for government.
It is not a problem where they approve it. Every contract is actually approved before later when they are implementing it. Then problems.
You see, what the difficulty I have with your position is that, you see, frankly speaking, fine, as you are saying, if I agree to your position, how you want to go about it and how you want me to go about my answering questions and things. If I go by that way, frankly speaking, I'll be dishonest because I know that is not how it's supposed to be. And I'll be dishonest in such a way that I'll be assisting for someone I know is completely innocent about this. For example, Atu Forsen, to be jailed because I knew something was wrong, was not the way, and I decided to keep quiet and to answer the question in a way that will make your case better for you to jail him. I'll be battling with my conscience. That is the problem I'm having. Anytime you bring up this, That is my problem I'm having. Because me, for example, I am in this case because I'm innocent and I'm going through ordeal. So I'm looking at another person also going to go through ordeal, and through me, because I know the truth and I decide not to say it because I want to help the AG make his case. And I ask myself, what is my interest in it?
I'm not asking you to really help me. I'm just going by the top. Anyway, so that's fine. So this one was even just by the way.
I hope you get my difficulty.
It's on the phone. I don't even know that.
Oh no. Don't worry
Discover
about it. My issue I'm talking about. Oh no, you and I will be meeting. You'll be meeting me at my cousin's place, and you've been bringing this issue up several times. And I keep telling you that I can't do that because it doesn't sit well with me.
Look at the terms of contract. The terms of contract are simple. And it's on sides have established upon the side of the contract for every future with us.
Yeah.
Do you answer? Yeah.
It's for every. So when you see that for every 50 ambulance, means that it's not only the 50.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
For every. It means that it is not only 50.
All right.
Mean that there are a lot of 50s that will be following. So that is what I was trying to explain to you. So frankly speaking, the LC that was established was as a security for the supplier to invest his own money.
Now, there was also a part that we learned about an excuse duty. The AG was traveling, and I couldn't quite understand that. At the press conference, there was some explanation as to what was happening. AG was traveling, and he wanted Jakpa to assist him in court.
Yeah. So Richard Jakpa has opened his case in court, and if you know Justice Efia Sewa, she likes to stick to timelines. She wants to do this. In fact, there was one day I was in court when Atofosin opened his court. He asked Eduji Tamaklo to do cross-examination of the finance minister in 30 minutes. And so the AG asks Richard Jakpa to do the cross-examination in such a way that it will either last a longer period so that when he returns from his official trip, he can come back and meet the trip. Then the gentleman says, I'll do something of that sort. And then the AG comes in and says, you can even bring an excuse duty. Then the AG says, okay. The Jakpa tells the AG, you can go ahead and bring the excuse duty. Then the AG says, no. I'm not going to bring the excuse duty. I'm asking you to just get some excuse duty. Maybe you are sick or something so that we can bring it in court. And then ultimately, the judge will allow that. Then let's expand because of today you are not here because you are sick and all that. Then Jakpa comes in and says, I cannot do that. The last time I was not in court, even the judge issued an arrest warrant. I don't want to get in trouble with this judge again. And so the AG goes on and on, trying to impress on Richard Jakpa to get him to create some medical excuse, to create some medical emergency so that he will not be available at the time so that he can actually expand his cross-examination and evidence in chief at the point that AG would have returned from his trip and come and meet the examination.
The reason for that is that that's my timetable for the rest of the
that means that you are not going to be around.
So, yeah. And then even next week, the whole of next week, I'll not be around. There's a way of if you will not even finishing next week, I would appreciate.
Oh no, okay, no, I'll not finish next week. I don't think I'll be able to finish because the documents are many. So you will surely go and come and meet me.
Oh, no,
but that will also depend upon the judge's behavior.
You can bring one medical experience next week.
Okay. Okay, fine. If you bring a medical excuse next week.
I said you. How can I bring a medical excuse?
No, you are saying that I should bring a medical excuse next week.
You can if you want.
But brother, you want this woman to issue bench warrant for me again?
Right. Anyway.
Because you can see that I was really in admission, struggling for my life, and she issued bench warrant for me to be arrested, and my name was put everywhere.
That's right.
Now, if I go and do another one, as you are saying, my brother, this woman will issue another bench warrant for me and destroy the little of my reputation left. She will destroy it for me.
No problem.
But you will surely go and come and meet me still talking. So don't worry.
No problem. All right.
Okay. Thank you, my brother.
So that's the exchange there on phone between the Attorney General and Richard Jakpa as it relates to this excuse duty. And the NDC's view on this is that the AG was asking him to fabricate a document and place it before the court to tell the court that indeed he was not well when indeed he was perfectly fine. We'll hear from the NDC pretty shortly. Now, since this broke, we've also heard about a sitting Supreme Court judge, and the narrative from the NPP had been that the Attorney General was entrapped, that he was ambushed, and that he didn't initiate this conversation, and that he was called into a meeting, and this was some conspiracy between Jakpa and a Supreme Court judge. The NDC also today produced WhatsApp messages that appear to suggest that the Attorney General initiated these conversations and actually even suggested the venue.
Yes, on 16 February 2022, Jakpa sends a message to Godfrey Dame, and per the screenshot that have been put out, I'm humbly requesting for a time and venue at your convenience to meet you for a private discussion, please. I'm most grateful for that kind gesture from you. Hope to hear favorably from you. This is the lawyer Jakpa writing on WhatsApp to the Attorney General. The Attorney General then responds and says that I will arrange through your brother. Thanks. So this goes on to actually counter the point that have been made.
And arrange through your brother apparently refers to this
sitting Supreme Court judge that has not really been named in all that is going to express, except that some persons in the NPP quarters have mentioned the name, but we were unable to put that name out. So this is what from this WhatsApp message that Godfrey Dame sends. This is Godfrey Dame saying that I will arrange for this meeting through your brother. And so I'll do that arrangement and then get back to you.
And this was based on the request, at least on the face of that WhatsApp message. And then they also produced another WhatsApp message that also showed a separate WhatsApp call.
Yes.
That it appears to have been initiated by the Attorney General. That lasted for 26 minutes.
Yes, that is Tuesday, 9th April. That is just around the time that this recording that we have been able to play was recorded. And again, it was around the time that Jakpa was opening up his case in court, being cross-examined by lawyers on all sides. And so the Attorney General calls Richard Jakpa. They speak for 26 minutes from the WhatsApp call that is evidence on the screenshot that Richard Jakpa or the NDC have been able to source and have been able to publish. 26 minutes. The call ends. That is very early in the morning at 7:12 a.m. Richard Jakpa and the AG has a 26-minute call. And then at 8:16 a.m., there's another call from Jakpa that lasts just 2 minutes. So on that morning, they have an almost 30 minutes call on both sides. And the NDC says they have more tapes that they can put out, and that this is further evidence that on that morning, the AG was trying to coach Richard Jakpa on how to answer questions and how to offer his testimony in a way that will incriminate the minority.
Listen to the national chairman of the NDC, Johnson Suningate, addressing these WhatsApp messages as it relates to the allegations of entrapment that the NPP had put out.
In sharp contrast to his earlier claim that he has never met any of the accused persons, the Attorney General now claims that he has actually contacted and met the third accused, Richard Jakpa, but that he met him only once at the residence of a Supreme Court judge, and that this meeting was not at his behest, but rather at the behest of a sitting Supreme Court judge who entrapped him. He now wants to extend the lie to a Supreme Court judge. Ladies and gentlemen, all these claims by the Attorney General through his spokesperson are lies, and we have evidence to prove so. In addition to the voice recordings, we have other evidence by way of screenshots of chats on WhatsApp between Godfrey Dame and Mr. Jakpa, which further proved that the Attorney General contacted and represented a represented person without recourse to the represented person's lawyer. The charts further show that it was Godfrey Dame who chose to meet Richard Jakpa at the house of the Supreme Court judge, and not the Supreme Court judge who invited them. The first one, 16 February 2022, from Richard Jakpa. I'm humbly requesting for a time and venue at your convenience to meet you for a private discussion, please. Then, I'm most grateful for that kind gesture from you. Then hope to hear favorably from you. This is all from Richard Jakpa. Then you come down here. That is from Godfrey Dame. I will arrange through your brother. Thanks. That brother is the Supreme Court judge. So Godfrey Dame says he will arrange through the Supreme Court judge for them to meet. So the Supreme Court judge has not requested for any meeting in his house. It's Godfrey Dame who arranged the meeting. Then he said, okay, the charts show it was Godfrey Dame who chose to meet Richard Jakpa at the house of the Supreme Court judge. As you can see from this screen, this is a WhatsApp chat dated 16 February 2022, in which Godfrey Dame undertakes to arrange a meeting with Mr. Jakpa through his brother, actually his cousin, the Supreme Court judge, through a WhatsApp message sent at 7:32 p.m. This evidence totally belies Dame's contrived and ridiculous claim that he was entrapped. So he was not entrapped. He planned to use the Supreme Court judge to call the witness for whatever they wanted to set up.
Well, joining me in the studio now is the National Communications Officer of the NDC. Shortly, I'll be taking you to the MPP's own press conference. It's been addressed by the Director of Legal, Frank Davis. I'll bring that to you live. You want to stay with us for that. Also joining me, Professor Kudwa Pejia. He's Associate Professor at School of Law, University of Ghana. But it's to you, Sami, that I tend to next on this matter. You today have put out the evidence that you believe you have, the secret recording, the WhatsApp messages. So what do you want now?
Demanding the immediate and unconditional resignation or dismissal of Godfrey Dame from his current position as Attorney General and Minister of Justice. And that is because he has proven to be unfit for that high and hallowed office. He lacks the integrity and the character that such an important office requires. You know that the entire prosecutorial powers of the state is vested in one person, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, under Article 88 of the 1992 Constitution. And that is why the occupant of that office must be a person of integrity, a person who adheres to the ethics of the legal profession and who respects the right of accused persons to be presumed innocent on proving guilty. Godfrey Dame, per the evidence we have put out, is a scheming, devious character who goes about manipulating the judicial process to secure wrongful convictions at all costs. And this person cannot be our Attorney General. So his immediate and unconditional resignation or dismissal is what we're asking for. And should the President refuse to do so, we are calling on Parliament to launch a publicly televised inquiry into this process, into these matters, with a view of censuring the Attorney General, because if the President will not remove him, Parliament has powers under the Constitution to censure and remove him from office. And we want that probe to be televised so that everyone can see and know the truth for themselves. Number 3, we are also calling for disciplinary proceedings to be instituted by the General Legal Counsel against Godfrey Dame, because these are issues that obviously should come to the attention, and if they require a petition to trigger that, we are ready to do that to ensure that he goes through the same disciplinary proceedings that lawyers who breach the professional etiquette, that governs the legal profession, because clearly he has engaged in communication with a represented party on the blind side of his lawyer that breaches Rule 13.
But they've made the point that at the time these conversations happened, he wasn't represented.
Well, you have seen incontrovertible evidence to the contrary, that the AG first engaged this third accused person on the 16th of February 2022. Yes, at the time, he had just been granted bail, right? Now, by the 17th of July 2022, that was when the AG first met him and asked him to share with him documents. We've shared with you the WhatsApp screenshots, and he forwarded the documents to him. As at that time, Mr. Jakpa was represented by a lawyer, Kosa. The audio recording we have played to you was recorded on the 9th of April 2024, just about a month ago. At about 7:12 a.m. You can see that from the WhatsApp screenshots. And at the time, Jakpa was represented by Mr. Tadio Sorry. So they claim that the AG has been speaking directly with the accused person because he was not represented is palpably false, and the evidence says so. Aside that, a lawyer is not supposed to tell a witness to lie to a court. That breaches Rule 54. Clearly, you hear Godfrey Dame telling a witness before the court to deceive the court by forging a fake medical excuse duty. No, that is conduct unbecoming of a lawyer. No person who has a scintilla of honor or integrity would do such a despicable act, which, by the way, per Section 213 and 214 of the Criminal and Other Offences Act, constitutes crime, perjury, what we call fabrication of evidence, which is perjury, a second-degree felony.
Sammy, stay with me.
So, yeah.
Let's see if Professor Kweju Pijutia is Associate Professor, School of Law at the University of Ghana, agrees with you, because he's also listened in on the secret recorder that has been played. Prof, thanks for your time. Your reaction, having listened to the secret tape that the NDC promised, as they will play last week, they have played it now.
Good evening, thanks for having me. Unfortunately, the recordings reveal a very bad side of the Attorney General, and it's not just about the Attorney General, it's about the office of the Attorney General, which is the high office, the sole office devoted to the criminal justice system, protecting the integrity of the criminal justice system. So it is a law that the Attorney General has recorded as a result of the release of this audio, which clearly shows that he has compromised his position. And it's a very bad example that has been set, which is going to go into the history of the criminal justice system in the country. So it is very important that immediately he purges himself of this behavior, which is unprofessional and unethical, so that some integrity can be restored immediately to that office.
From what you heard, what is unethical about what we just heard?
He's trying to compromise the defendant or accused person to tell some lies or to fabricate a story in such a way that it would corner and nail the first accused person and make him bad and find him for the court to find him culpable. And I think that is against the ethics of the profession. And so he should be in a better position to have known that. And it's also interesting on the tape that he sensed that what he was doing was not right. That's why he's saying, I hope I've not been recorded. So he knew what he was doing was wrong. And something has to be done about it to ensure that this is not continued.
Is it only a case of an ethical breach, or, as the NDC has suggested, a crime may also have been committed there?
A crime is also committed. Yes, perjury. Perjury, the truth is trying to force somebody to compromise the truth, and that certainly is perjury. It didn't only end there with regard to the issue of fabricating the story, but also even asking the third defendant to forge some papers to send to the court so that he will not be available to come to court on a particular day. That is also wrong. It's certainly wrong. It's in bad taste.
So what happens now? What's the remedy? Just for the matter to be picked up by the General Legal Counsel, the NDC says the Parliament should also look into it. What's your own suggestion on this matter as to how you proceed?
Honorable thing is for the Attorney General to resign and to make a public apology to Ghanaians that what he did was wrong. He has realized it's wrong and he's apologizing. If that doesn't come forth, the president should dismiss him from the office, should leave him of his position, so that the integrity of that office can be preserved. At least the tainted image.
So you want to ask me about that?
Corrected in some way or the other. Sorry.
Please proceed.
So, and if the president doesn't go forth to release him of his position, then there are other steps. Parliament, for example, can come in and institute a probe into this whole matter. A commission of inquiry can also be established. The matter can even be reported to SRAS. So these avenues are available, which certainly needs to be pursued in case these first two steps that are suggested are not complied with from the AG himself or from the president.
And Prof, thank you very much. That's Professor Kwejo Epidietia, Associate Professor, School of Law, University of Ghana, expressing his thoughts on the secret recording that has just been put out by the NDC. Now, just as we've been speaking, the MPP press conference just got underway. Addressing that press conference is the Director of Legal for the party, Emefa Apawu, is here. Top headlines coming from there.
So they have a pushback accusing the party, that's the NDC, of bastardizing the judiciary and is also desperately shielding the minority leader from taking responsibility for his role in causing financial loss to the state. Frank Davis is currently addressing the media.
Directed the Controller and Accountant General to pay the sums of 806,688 Ghana cedis 75 pesos, representing bank charges covering the establishment of letters of credit for the supply of 50 ambulances, and further directed for the amount to be charged against the capital expenditure vote for the Ministry of Health. Ladies and gentlemen, all these directives by first accused, Kesel Atuforsen, were contrary to the agreement for the supply of the ambulances, as well as the parliamentary approval regarding the financing of the transaction. It is also important to note that Atuforsen's authorization of payments for the transaction was without any request from the Ministry of Health. In fact, the Ministry of Health had specifically asked Big C to stop producing the ambulances as there was no valid contract regarding the transaction. In spite of all that, Atuforsen, without cause and for reasons best known to himself, proceeded to authorize payment for the ambulances. Pursuant to the unlawful directives of first accused, Atuforsen, Big C shipped 30 vehicles in 3 consignments between October 2014 and February 2015, which were fundamentally defective and lacking in the basic requirements for an ambulance. In short, they were not fit for purpose. This was confirmed by a letter written by the then Minister for Health, Dr. Alesegbefia, and other assessments by the National Ambulance Service. In point of fact, Alesegbefia, in the letter to Big C, described the ambulances as ordinary vans, to wit, trotro. Interestingly, this same himself, Alesegbefia, was sitting with them in that press conference. These vehicles were never used and could not be used as ambulances during the whole tenure of the John Mahama administration. Following the change in government in 2017, investigations commenced and statements were taken from several people, including the incumbent Speaker of Parliament, Kingsford Bagbin, Mr. Kweku Ajiman Mensah, Madam Sherry Aite Disease, and Dr. Alesegbefia, all of whom were former health ministers, as well as first accused Kesel Atuforsen and other persons, including the third accused person, Richard Jakpa. Out of these many people, the Attorney General, convinced that the willful act of Kesel Atuforsen had resulted in a financial loss of 2,370,000 euros to the state, charged him before the High Court, together with Sylvester Animana, the former Chief Director of the Ministry of Health, and Richard Jakpa, a businessman, for causing financial loss, abetment to causing financial loss, and misapplying public property. The proceedings before the High Court. Ladies and gentlemen, proceedings in this matter have run its full course since commencement in December 2021. The prosecution, led by the able Attorney General, called 5 witnesses in proof of its case. Lawyers for first accused in an attempt to truncate the proceedings, filed a submission of no case and urged the court to rule that Kesela Tuforsin had no case to answer, as no prima facie case had been made against him. This plea was outrightly rejected by the court, presided over by Justice Ifia Sewa Asaribotre, a justice of the Court of Appeal sitting as an additional High Court judge. The court ruled, among others, that the Attorney General had led sufficient evidence to establish a case against Atuforsin and therefore ordered him to open his defense. Atuforsin subsequently opened his defense and also closed his case. The third accused, Richard Jakpa, also opened his case and was last Thursday being cross-examined when he made a scandalous, malicious, baseless, and spurious allegation that the Attorney General had approached him on several occasions to skew his testimony to implicate Atuforsin. Ladies and gentlemen, why would any credible person do such a thing? Indeed, if the Attorney General had any intention of having him skew the evidence in favor of Atuforsin, it would not just be just for the Attorney General to continue the prosecution of Atuforsin, but that is what the NDC wants us to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret that the NDC ever since the commencement of Atuforsin's prosecution has threatened rain and storm against government, the Attorney General, and any person they can find to cajole the Attorney General from discontinuing the prosecution. Pressure has come from every angle, including former President Mahama, the leadership of the minority in parliament, the clergy, business friends of Atuforsin, etc., etc. Indeed, former President Mahama specifically maintained the discontinuance of the ambulance trial as a condition to get members of the minority in parliament to agree to the recent recall in parliament, and has on several other occasions stated it as a condition precedent for the cooperation of the minority in parliament. This pressure stems from some warped and baseless logic of the NDC that the Atuforsin's prosecution is politically motivated and its leader in parliament should be immune from prosecution, even when the facts indicate conduct resulting in financial loss to the state. As mentioned earlier, investigations commenced as far back as 2017, making it imperative to ask at this stage, why is Atuforsin, the only government official, being prosecuted from all other former ministers from whom statements were taken? Your guess should equally be good as mine. Clearly, the prosecution is based on the various documentation available from the participating agencies in the transaction, and this is evidenced by the court's ruling upholding that the case has been made by the Attorney General that warrants an answer from the defense. It is also worth noting that the prosecution of Kesela Atuforsin commenced even before he became minority leader, making it worthless and nonsensical, the suggestion that he is being prosecuted because he's a minority leader in parliament. This logic can only come from the NDC. Ladies and gentlemen, if at all, the only prosecution in this instance is the malicious and perennial dislike of the NDC towards the Attorney General since he assumed office, and the several attempts made by the NDC to stultify his work. The records are there clearly to show that right from his appointment as Attorney General, the NDC has spent one of the longest periods in our constitutional vetting system with the hope of impeaching his appointment. But the Attorney General remained resolute to their administration. You all watched the live telecast of his vetting in Parliament, and you saw what the NDC took him through. He survived the storm, and he's still our competent Attorney General.
And that day is the director of legal for the NPP at the news conference that is partly still underway. I want to bring in my correspondent at that particular press conference right now. Papa Shali joins us on the line now, Papa. And they've been making a point about the recording that we heard today played by the NDC?
Yes, Evan. So the first point is that this particular or narration from the part of the NDC or the minority has all been banded together to create an impression or just to make case for the minority leader. Now, from what we get from this particular press conference is that the tape in itself, they estimate that the tape is more than 20 minutes long. However, only 16 minutes of that has been made public. The question is that why has the audio been cut down? Again, they feel that per their estimation, that definitely guides them to a tape that has been doctored with an intent, a malicious intent, those are the words, to try and make a case to allow the AG to let the accused, which is the minority leader, go on this particular case.
Jakpa, the third accused and an associate of Kesela 2 in this botched ambulance procurement transaction is therefore only a further ploy contrived to curtail the prosecution of Atu and smear the Attorney General's integrity and reputation. But this, I can assure you, will not work. We firmly believe that public officials, regardless of social standing, must be treated equally before the law, and they should be accountable for their use of public resources. Needless to say that the law is no respecter of persons. Ladies and gentlemen, the allegations by Richard Jakpa that the AG has on several occasions met him in private at odd hours and in person on phone to coax him to implicate the accused person is a complete variance with the prevailing facts. In fact, it is laughable. The attempt to selectively present facts without the whole is telling of the intentions of the third accused person. For the record, it is unacceptable that Johnson Asiedun Ketia will run a commentary over the alleged tape calculated to prevent Ghanaians and discerning people as such from making their own deductions and reasoned judgment. You saw him on radio, behaving like a choir master. Again, even though from the screenshots displayed, the alleged conversation is supposed to last 26 minutes, the NDC schemed to play only 60 minutes. 16 out of 26. The question is, where is the rest of the tape? Even in respect of what was played, it is apparent that there are repetitions, overlaps, incoherence, voiceover, and distortions, demonstrating that the NDC has spent these past days distorting whatever tape they played. It is no wonder that even this afternoon, we are caught in the same trap anyway. Even this afternoon, instead of commencing the press conference at 2, they had to wait till about 3 o'clock because they were still doctoring. We haven't doctored. We are presenting to you the facts as they are. Even on that doctored tape, the Attorney General never requested the witness to falsify, fabricate, or concoct any evidence or testify in the prosecution's favor. You all heard the tape. Where did the Attorney General lure the third accused person to prefer evidence against the first accused? With the load of evidence before the court, how can the Attorney General manipulate the third accused person? Indeed,
Papa is still with me. Papa, they also raised the issue about Dr. Kesela Tofosin, who is a minority leader, and that what is happening right now with the NDC press conference is part of a grand plot to shield him from accountability in this particular trial that is before the court.
Yes, Evan. So for them, they believe that the evidence that they hold, the audio, the said conversation, traveled well beyond 20 minutes. But again, they say that the NDC has only been able to produce 60 minutes. They calculated that the tape has been doctored, some portions have been cut out, just to create the impression that one of the persons who's supposed to be the minority or is not supposed to be in court and should be let go at this point in time. There's more to that, though. they come back to some more evidence that they have, to the extent that they have a recording, they have a video, and evidence to prove that even some of the accused people came to the AG with the hopes of trying to convince him to drop the case against some of the accused persons.
Atuforsen subsequently opened his defense and also closed his case. The third accused, Richard Jakpa, also opened his case and was last Thursday being cross-examined when he made a scandalous, malicious, baseless, and spurious allegation that the Attorney General had approached him on several occasions to skew his testimony to implicate Atuforsen. Ladies and gentlemen, why would any credible person do such a thing? Indeed, if the Attorney General had any intention of having him skew the evidence in favor of Atuforsen, it would not just be just for the Attorney General to continue the prosecution of Atuforsen. But that is what the NDC wants us to believe. Ladies and gentlemen, it is no secret that the NDC ever since the commencement of Atuforsen's prosecution has threatened rain and storm against government, the Attorney General, and any person they can find to cajole the Attorney General from discontinuing the prosecution. Pressure has come from every angle, including former President Mahama, the leadership of the minority in Parliament, the clergy, business friends of Atuforsen, etc., etc. Indeed, former President Mahama specifically maintained the discontinuance of the ambulance trial as a condition to get members of the minority in Parliament to agree to the recent recall in Parliament, and has on several other occasions stated it as a condition precedent for the cooperation of the minority in Parliament. This pressure stems from some warped and baseless logic of the NDC that the Atuforsen's prosecution is politically motivated and its leader in Parliament should be immune from prosecution, even when the facts indicate conduct resulting in financial loss to the state.
And Papa, the reference to the evidence that the MPP says they have, that they believe will show that the minority leader and others were in the Attorney General's house begging to be left off the hold, did they play the evidence? We've seen the NDC put their evidence out. Did they play that evidence? Did they show that to the media men there?
No, Evans, they actually just made mention of the fact that they have evidence to some of the claims they are also making as a party. However, I'm not trying to mention whether they're going to make that available to anybody in the press corps. I'm actually trying to get closer to Frank David if I could ask him about this particular, whether the MPP is going to make these claims available. Hello, sir. Good evening. I just wanted to find MPP.
Well, apologies for the bad connection there to Papania Shale. We'll try and get you the director of legal for the MPP for a conversation and get a bit more clarity on the evidence that the party says they have on this unfolding saga involving the minority leader currently in this ambulance trial, which has become extremely controversial and explosive on the back of the NDC press conference today, where they put out the secret recording. And Sami Jemfi, the National Communications Officer, is with me in the studio. Sami, we just had the MPP press conference, and they are categorical that the conversation that was recorded was 26 minutes. And if this is the WhatsApp message that you yourself put out, indeed it shows that the conversation lasted for 26 minutes. However, what was played today was 16 minutes. They conclude that this is a doctored tape.
Okay, so we know from the decision of the Supreme Court in the Kennedy Japan versus Anas case that in law, if you allege that the tape is doctored, the onus is on you to produce the authentic version. So where is the authentic version?
Well, the authenticity
and where is the evidence that the tape has
lies
been?
in 26 minutes.
No, come on.
That's what the point.
That's a joke.
That was in your
Evans,
own WhatsApp.
If you call me for an hour, okay, I can have a conversation with you for, say, the first 20 minutes. But if I see from the direction of the conversation that you are up to mischief, I can record from a certain point. You see, so the fact that I don't record the entire conversation, but I record portions of the conversation doesn't make the tape doctored. So if you see, look, Mr. Jakpa, under oath, whilst testifying in court, told the court, under oath underline, that the Attorney General has been calling and meeting him at odd hours, impressing on him to falsify his evidence so that he can secure a wrongful conviction of Honorable Atuforsen. And he told the court that he has evidence. And he dared the Attorney General that if you dare me, I will open the Pandora's box. Now, if Frank Davis is serious about what he's saying, why didn't the Attorney General object to that evidence? And why didn't he dare Jakpa in the witness box? Because he's the Attorney General. He's a lawyer on record in the case. The Evidence Act allows him to make an objection. He could have even moved an application for the court to expunge that from the records of the court. Dame lost his mojo. He was shivering in his chair. He was silent through the proceedings and couldn't offer any objection. Today it takes these people to hold a press conference to defend an Attorney General who could not defend himself when his accuser was sitting before him in a witness box. Are they serious? What do they take us for?
But the Attorney General it wasn't his turn to cross-examine the accused.
No, it's not about, no. You don't wait for your turn.
You could have raised an objection. But
you could have raised an
on
objection.
what grounds?
If what they claim is true, that the allegation is vexatious and scandalous. And that same should be exposed. He could have even said that the evidence has no basis. It has no legs to stand on. It's inadmissible. It's not relevant. Or it is scandalous. And that it should be expunged. And the rules of evidence require such an objection to be made timeously. The reason why Dame was shivering in his chair and was silent throughout the proceedings, couldn't raise any objection, even when the court indicated that testimony should be captured on record, is because he knows that what Jakpa was saying is the truth. Because he's a coward, he thinks that he can come into the media to mount a defense he has not been able to mount in court.
You have his day in court where he can cross-examine Jakpa.
Cross-examine who? Cross-examine a person that he is begging to help him make his case and to skew his testimony in a way that supports his case.
On the tape they maintain is doctored. So he gets to put that to him in court.
That the tape is doctored, and I'm telling you,
the tape is
where is the authentic tape and where is the evidence of the doctrine? Because if they say the reason why they say that the tape is doctored, two reasons. They say, number one, the call lasted for 26 minutes, but the tape is 16 minutes 5 seconds. And I'm telling you that you can call me for a conversation. We can have the conversation for say 10 minutes. If midway into the conversation I realize that you are misleading me into something, I can start recording at that point. So the conversation could have lasted for 30 minutes, but the recording will be 20 minutes. This is common sense. It doesn't make the tape doctored. Number two, they say the most ridiculous one. Come on, this is an authentic tape. Everything we have put out today, look, I'm a lawyer, and I know the consequence of putting out false information, publishing false information about somebody. And I know we are dealing with somebody who is the Attorney General. Everything we have put out, the WhatsApp screenshots, the audio recording, which is just one of the many we have, is incontrovertible, it is indisputable, and Godfred Dame cannot deny it. You see, all throughout this conversation, since Jakpa exploded in court and dropped this bombshell, the AG and the MPP have been peddling lies upon lies, and I am very pained that the media still indulges them. Because number one, when this matter broke on the 23rd of May, the AG issued a statement. You read the statement on this show. Paragraph 2 of that statement says, Evans, that the Attorney General, neither the Attorney General or his office or his assigns, have ever met any of the accused persons or sought their cooperation in any form. No meeting. Now these same people turn around and come and tell you that, oh, he met him, but he was ambushed and entrapped by a Supreme Court judge. And you take them serious? These liars, you take them serious? They came and contradicted themselves. The Dame that they claim never met Mr. Jakpa. Now they said that he met him, but he ambushed him. Only for us to give you incontrovertible WhatsApp chat evidence that shows that it was in fact the Attorney General who first suggested and chose to meet Jakpa through the Supreme Court judge. The Supreme Court judge knew nothing about it. Jakpa himself never proposed that. But because that is his modus operandi, That is how Dami goes about manipulating the judicial process. That is why his first inclination was to set up that meeting Jakpa requested through a sitting Supreme Court judge.
But in the
which therefore means that he lied to you on Joy when he said that he was ambushed in the house of a Supreme Court judge and that he never met him.
In that clip you played, that suggestion appears was because of the Jakpa's relationship with the Supreme Court judge.
Yes.
And he's his direct cousin from the audio you played.
Yes.
So this is family.
Yes.
In other words, let's meet in your
but why will you do
family
that?
member's house.
Why will you do that?
So it's not necessarily because the Supreme Court judge. It's because Attorney General may have known that Jakpa has a cousin who obviously also is somebody of note in society, and that's why the meeting was held.
But that doesn't Godfrey Dami knows the rules of ethics that governs the work of prosecutors and lawyers? So a criminally accused person who is represented by a lawyer in the case reaches out to you for a meeting. Why will you beat him? If you come to me like that, I will tell you that, hey, don't ever call me. If you want to talk to me, let your lawyer call me. That is what any lawyer worth a salt will do. In any case, the recording we played, which was a recording of a telephone conversation between Mr. Jakpa and Godfrey Dami on the morning of 9th April 2024, where was the Supreme Court judge in the scheme of affairs?
This was a phone conversation.
Yes, Dami himself called Jakpa for 26 minutes. So where was that Supreme Court judge in the scheme of affairs? You see, they are looking for scapegoats. They are looking for a diversion. They are looking for somebody to throw under the bus. We are discerning and we will not follow that diversionary tactic. You are a public officer, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. You are enjoined to adhere to the rules of ethics governing the legal profession. You know you are not supposed to communicate with a represent party on the blind side of his lawyer. You know that you are not supposed to tell a witness to deceive a court. That is perjury. That is a crime. That also violates Rule 54 of our rules of ethics. Yet you have done that. And you come and tell us that you're going to do a press conference and it is this circus, this comedy, this key soap concert party you put up as a press conference. Well, where is the tape? Godfrey Dami issued a statement and said that he has a video recording of Ato Forson coming to his house to beg him. In other words, to influence him to drop this matter. Where is that video recorded?
Well, we try to
you
put
see that
question,
lies have a short lifespan?
We try to put that question to the Director of Legal for the MPP. He's told our reporter on the ground that he will not be engaging as of now. And so once
he will not be engaging
as of now.
I did a press conference and I am in your studio. I'm not even speaking on the phone.
Well,
this guy does a press conference and he doesn't even have the courage
to
grant an interview.
That is what
and you give them airtime
to my reporter on the ground who tried to get an interview with him on the back of that press conference. But they said at the press conference, you have asked for Attorney General to resign or be fired. The MPP maintains that will not happen.
No, my brother, listen. The MPP must understand something. The issues at stake don't concern the MPP. These are issues that border on the criminal and unprofessional conduct of a public officer, the Attorney General and Minister of Justice. He has a spokesperson. And he has been granting interviews on Top Story. Where is he? Where was he today in court? When we say Ubia was a master? At the Attorney General, where was he? The Attorney General who didn't want to miss a day of this trial.
No, but he has
because he couldn't wait to see.
Justice.
So where is he? Where is he?
Responsibilities and duties.
How come that after he was threatened that if he jokes a Pandora's box will be opened, he has suddenly flee from court?
It did not flee
He is
from court.
hiding in a rat hole.
From
we can't find him. Where is he? Where is his spokesperson?
And we'll go to court with issue.
Where is lawyer Tiayabua who issued that statement on his behalf?
Today.
No, Dami was not in court.
Tiayabua was in court.
But where is Godfrey Dami? Why has he flee from the jurisdiction?
And he told us why the Attorney General himself was not in town.
Why?
Stay with me.
But whether he's in court or not, hold on. He has a spokesperson. Where is his spokesperson?
Well, the Deputy Attorney General himself was speaking today in court, and I want to.
No, why are they not on top? Why are they not on? Joy News.
Hold your horses for me for a second. Let me bring in a member of our legal affairs desk, Kweku Asante Esumi. Kweku, this matter was in court today, and let's start with the question that the NDC is asking: where is the Attorney General himself?
The Attorney General is currently not in the country, and the response that has come in from his deputy, the Deputy Attorney General, Alfred Tiayabua, is that the Attorney General is currently outside the country. He's on an official visit. He's doing other state responsibilities. And as on when he's in, he'll make a determination as to whether or not he will recuse himself. He also responds to my questions as to whether or not an investigation into this allegation by Richard Jakpa is merited. He says it's completely not merited. Listen to Alfred Chieboa at the High Court complex today.
Tension. We are prosecuting our case. They are defending their clients, and that's how the legal system works. So far as we are doing our work in court, we continue to do it and nothing else. So there's no tension.
I mean, is AG around? Is AG intending to take any further steps about the allegations made against him in open court last week?
AG is on an official assignment, and he'll be back very soon.
How many calls that, looking at what is happening, the AG should step up?
That's the decision of the AG to make, but I don't see it that way. I don't know the controversy you are talking about. A mere allegation has been made, and so if anybody thinks that he may want a committee to be set up, I disagree with such a person, and I don't see anyone who may want to even think that it's a matter that borders on the integrity of the Attorney General or any other thing. He's very resolute, he's well composed, he's out of jurisdiction, he'll be back to continue his work as an Attorney General.
That is the Deputy Attorney General there. Kweku, there was also some heated exchanges today in court between the trial judge and some members of the NDC in particular.
Yes, Justice Efiase Wasaribochi, because today they could not get into the specifics of this case because of certain interlocutory matters that have been filed. And the judge says she will need some time to write a reasoned opinion on all of that next week. She did not get into the specifics of the matter, but she had a warning to both parties, asking both parties to tone down on the intemperate language that has surrounded the case. Since Jakpa's admission under oath last week, Thursday, there have been a lot of conversation around the table. Then the Justice Efiase Wasaribochi, a Court of Appeal judge sitting with her additional responsibilities as a High Court judge, asked Sami Gyamfi to stand up. And Sami Gyamfi was sitting in the gallery just like all of us. He asked him to stand up. Sami Gyamfi obliges and stands up. He asked him to come and stand in the dock.
He was showing his real size.
He asked him to come and stand in the dock where the cross-examination normally takes place. He asked him then and says that, what time did he come to court last Thursday? And you recall that Sami Gyamfi had done a news conference on that Thursday about Jakpa's admission. But then the lawyers all come in and say that, in fact, Sami Gyamfi was in court prior to Jakpa making those bombshell allegations in court, even before the judge called lawyers into his chambers. So that case was dealt with. He asked Sami Gyamfi to take his seat again. Then, about a minute later after, still...
Do you know why that question?
The question...
Did he provide any context?
The context was not provided, but if you see what the judge was leading to, she clearly wanted to make the point that Sami Gyamfi had gone out of court and done a news conference, but did not know what had transpired in court, but had done a news conference out of it. But it was established that Sami Gyamfi was in court at the time that happened. So he asked Sami Gyamfi to sit down. And then a minute later, asked Sami Gyamfi to get up again on his feet and says Sami Gyamfi had gone into the media and said certain things. And let me quote specifically from what the judge says. The judge says she has heard Sami Gyamfi say this: if someone can call the accused person without his lawyer, if the Attorney General can call the accused person without his lawyer, then he can call the judge. Then Sami Gyamfi retorts from where he's standing that he did not say that. He did not say then he will call, then he can call the judge. Explains that.
And
he
emphasis
says,
on the.
He says, if the Attorney General can call the accused person without his lawyer, then he can call a judge. They go back and forth on it. The judge says, well, that does not make any difference really from the comment that you have made. And Sami Gyamfi is still on his feet. At that point, they are literally exchanging words at the bench. The judge keeps saying that you cannot do that in my court. You have to let me finish. Just like the Chief Justice and Thaddeus Sori in the anti-LGBT case. It goes on, and then cautions Sami Gyamfi to be very cautious about some of the comments that he makes out of court around this case, reiterating that command that when it comes to this case, her mind will not be changed by the commentary outside. But she does not want a situation where after she delivers judgment on this case, people will say that it's because of reason A or reason B. But still at that time, Sami Gyamfi is still exchanging words with the judge in her courtroom. Marietta Brew appeared upon the former Attorney General, who was also in court, not as a lawyer on record, not dressed as a lawyer, just dressed as any person, gets up and says, we need to manage this situation well because there are journalists here, there are members of the gallery. You don't have to be playing this out in open court. So she also tries to reason with the judge and say, okay, I'm trying to ask Sami Gyamfi to calm down. So if you can also calm down, let's go on and on. Then the judge retorts that what is wrong, whether it's coming from the NPP or the NDC, and says that even if the NDC is to win the 2024 election, they can't change all 400 of them who are judges. And so they have to deal with them, and they have to really try and manage the language around the court. At that point, Marietta Brew appear upon, it's not able to convince the judge to stop the tirade that she's on. So Marietta appear upon says, well, this is your court, you have to manage it. Then she sits down. Then it goes back and forth. Sorry, lawyer for Richard Jakpa comes in, try to calm the tension in court. So every now and then he'll get up and try and make something, everybody will laugh so that the tension will be down. And then ultimately the judge says the case is adjourned to next week Tuesday. Sami Jemfi, Marietta Brew appear upon, all the other lawyers on record, meet me in my chamber. So Sami Jemfi is taken to the chamber for nearly 30 minutes, half an hour.
You're waiting for him.
We are waiting for him. He comes out. He does not tell us specifically what happened in there, but says that he agrees in principle with the judge that when it comes to the language around this, it should be managed. But as for they in the NDC, they will continue to make their point if they think that something has not really gone well. So that is the lowdown from the High Court complex today.
And thankfully, the man himself is sitting here and who appears to have toned down a bit from what you're suggesting after the Chambers meeting. Sammy, what transpired in there?
Oh, you want me to talk to you about what happened in my ladies' chambers? No, that would be unethical.
That won't happen.
I don't want to be guilty of the very things I'm accusing Odame of. So I think that
but you
all
agree with her concerns. You share her concerns.
Oh, to the extent that she wants to safeguard the sanctity of the judicial process and administration of justice and ensure that the commentary around the case doesn't scandalize the courts. We all agree with that in principle. All I sought to put across was that the information she had was not accurate, and so I needed to correct that, and also to indicate that I had not, set out to scandalize the court in any way, and that what I said, she got wrong, with all due respect. That was what I sought to draw the court's attention to, and like your brother Kweku said, we will continue to comment on the matter because this is a matter of considerable public interest that involves no less a person than our leader of our parliamentary caucus. We will comment on the matter. Nobody will gag us, but we will be responsible in our comments. We will do so with circumspection and ensure that we don't cross the line, we don't scandalize the court. That assurance we have given the court. And since this matter started, we've restrained ourselves from commenting on the matter. But what is beginning to emerge are very serious issues, and nobody should be allowed to use the court as a shield against criticism. The Attorney General is a public officer paid with our taxes.
You use the word shield there.
Yeah.
The MPP at the press conference says that's what you are trying to do now.
No.
Throwing mud and throwing in the secret recording, all to shield the minority leader from accountability, from being prosecuted, from what the state believes to be a crime that has been committed. In this case,
in today's press conference, we made 4 demands. Did we ask for the discontinuance of the case against Atufosin?
But in essence, in effect,
no, that's not what we're saying.
What they're trying to do in the court of public opinion
believe in the
is to marshal court of public opinion to put pressure on the Attorney General to back off.
No, yes, but the Attorney General is not the only person who can. Godfred Dame is not the only person who can serve as an Attorney General, is he? Are the MPP people saying that all the wise men in MPP are dead? All their so-called brilliant lawyers are dead? And if they have an unscrupulous character as an Attorney General and he resigns, they can't get somebody to replace him to do this prosecution? So if they think that they have a good case, they should go on and prosecute their case and stop trying to compromise accused persons and witnesses to falsify their testimonies so that they can prove their case, which was built on straw, built on vendetta from the one. If they think they have a case, go on and prosecute your case. Atufosin goes to court every day. Sometimes he goes to court without anybody there to solidarize with him. We are not complaining. We are going through the process. He has opened and closed his case. The second accused has opened his case. He's yet to close his case. We are confident that at the end of the day, justice will be done. We want to give that benefit of doubt to the judicial process and have confidence in the process. So we don't have any problem if they want to continue the case. We are saying that Godfred Dame has proven to be unprofessional, unethical, devious, unscrupulous. He has no respect for the rules and the ethics of the legal profession. He has engaged in violent violations of many of the rules that governs our work as lawyers and prosecutors. You understand? And he has even engaged in criminal conduct. And we are saying he should be investigated, he should be censured and all that. So are they saying that lawyer Tunya Yeboah cannot prosecute Ato Forsen? He, Frank Davis, can't he be Attorney General to prosecute Ato Forsen since he says Ato Forsen is so guilty? In any case, look, if this man is so guilty, why you recall that one journalist went and sat on one MPP Foot Soldiers platform that he calls Good Evening Ghana to say that somebody was begging the Attorney General to discontinue the case. Look, you listen to the tape. Who was begging who?
Sami Jemfi, thank you very much.
Who was begging who?
That day, Sami Jemfi is the national communications officer of the party, and we tried to reach out, and as you heard live there, the press conference from our correspondent who was at the press conference, Papa Ni Ashali, the Director of Legal of the MPP, will not engage at this moment after the press conference. But from what I understand, in court last week, the Minister of Justice told the court that he would not be available, he would not be in town this week. And if you know anything about the Court of Appeal judge who is sitting at the High Court on this particular case, she is firm and extremely fair. And many will not doubt at all her capacity to see this through, regardless of that controversy that we've seen around what is happening outside the court. She is going to stick to what the laws say on this particular matter. I watch this unfold very closely on this subject. And you want to join us on PM Express because we'll unpack this a bit more and help you make sense of it. Still live here on News 90s on Joy 99.7 FM, and George Jaffe is here with the latest from the world of business. Hello, George.
Hi, Evans. And coming up in business, government moves to deal with concerns of businesses moving out of the country because of challenging environment. And Bank of Ghana rejects suggestions IMF program limits its ability to intervene on the market to stabilize the Ghana city. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Sintas Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Life is a stage and we're all players, playing the supporting role.
The title of my poem is
Playing with Rhythm. Playing the lead. Playing to win. Playing with gusto. Playing for the sheer thrill until the curtain falls. Because every journey begins with play. Kickstart yours with MTN. So, what are we doing today? MTN.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHS, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
We have a new leader in town. OBRNT. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Hello, my name is Mami Akua, an entrepreneur and a mother of two. My work keeps me busy most of the time, and sometimes it takes me away from my family. But the safety and health of my family is very important to me. As a working mother, I cannot afford to take any chances when it comes to matters of health. That is why I signed up for a family healthcare plan from Equity Health Insurance. My family and I have access to over 700 hospitals, clinics, opticians, dentists, pharmacies, and diagnostic centers across the length and breadth of Ghana. With Equity Health Insurance, I no longer have to worry about medical bills. Anytime a member of my family visits a hospital, Equity Health Insurance has got my family and I covered. What about you? Who has got you covered?
Call Equity Health Insurance on 050-660-7910 and talk to them about your family health needs now. Visit equityhealthinsurance.com for more information. Equity Health Insurance, here for you.
There is time for everything, including exclusive breastfeeding by mothers, which starts within the first 30 minutes baby is born till the time the child is 6 months old. Grandma,
Grandpa,
husbands.
Let's all come on board Good Life and insist that our child takes only breast milk for the first 6 months. No food, no water, no gripe water.
Breast milk has all the nutrients the child needs to grow strong and healthy. So I ask, how is your good life?
Remember that exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months is best for baby, and good growth starts with right nutrition at birth. Good Life, live it well. It's an everyday thing. Good Life from Ghana Health Service and partners with support from USAID.
I send them, you get them. I get them, I send them.
I get them.
I pay them.
Telesale cash. I get them. I take them.
Telesale cash. You get them.
I send them.
Telesale cash. I send them. You get them.
Telesale cash.
I get them.
I buy them. I take them.
I pay them. I send them.
Telesale cash. Telesale cash.
Experience the ultimate convenience of sending money on Telesale Cash. Sending money from Telesale Cash to Telesale Cash is free. You can also make payments to merchants on all networks. Enjoy best value and total security with Telesale Cash.
Telesale, connecting energies.
Hello, Ghana. Are you tired of the same old political rhetoric? Do you believe it is time for a change that truly represents the voices of our youth, women, and children? I present to you Nana Kwame Bediako. He is a visionary leader with a passion for making our country better through innovative industrial revolution. Together, we can change the political narrative and create a government that truly represents the interest of all citizens. Join this journey to build a better and inclusive future for all by contributing to our Save Ghana Fund campaign. Your support, no matter the amount, is not just a donation. It is an investment in the shared desire for a more prosperous, equitable, and better nation. To donate, visit www.nkb.com.gh or dial *887 *2024 #. Thank you for your support.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, government says it is taking steps to deal with concerns of businesses over challenging environment, resulting in some of them exiting the country. There are reports that more could be going if their concerns are not dealt with. Now, Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotions and Youth Grant says that some progress is being made in addressing some of the issues raised.
We are constantly in talks with the Ministry of Finance, constantly in talk with Ministry of Trade to see how we can tweak the environment to make it more exciting. Bear in mind, this competition for investment is keen. There are about 196 other countries out there also looking for investment, even the US and even China.
And this talk, how is it being fast-tracked to ensure that at least things are stabilized? Because some will say that these things do not happen overnight. The assurances, the encouragement to stabilize the market.
But you see, the thing about investors, they look for opportunity. So even in the direst of times, they look for opportunity. In fact, as one investor told me some time back, says, war times make the best times for investors. And I was like, what do you mean by war times? He says, when things are toughest, that's when the real tough investors get going. And if you look at the African continent, in the past, the biggest investors although our economies were not that developed, although our economies were a bit turbulent, our investors who came to the continent were resource-seeking investors. They would go because they needed the resources. They needed the gold, they needed the platinum, they needed the bauxite, they needed the iron ore. But now we have decided that no, we're not going to do that.
Yofi Grant is the chief executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Now, Bank of Ghana is rejecting suggestions that the IMF program has limited its ability to intervene on the market to stabilize the Ghana cedi. The IMF program is seeking to encourage the Bank of Ghana to build up its reserves to deal with future challenges. But the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, is insisting that it can still step into the market to provide the needed support when it comes to dollars for the commercial banks.
I'm not sure if that assessment is right. Yes, we have some indicative targets in terms of the amount of intervention that the central bank will do. But these are not performance targets, right? So they are not deal breakers. So there is some flexibility in terms of those intervention budgets. I think the most important consideration is to look at the program objectives. The program objectives requires that we will build up a substantial amount of reserves because of where we started from. We started from having very low foreign exchange reserves with a lot of liabilities, foreign liabilities for the central bank. And what we have tried to do in the period that the program has been into place is to correct that.
Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Ernest Addison. Now, petroleum advisory and assurance firm Hitchfield has debunked assertions that he has been contracted by the National Petroleum Authority to engage in revenue assurance for the sector. The firm has been engaging some journalists in the crowd today to respond to some issues coming up. There is more in this report.
The software Stock Track is a central petroleum stock monitoring and stock risk management software for the Baideken refinery supply chain. The platform also serves as a data nexus for key supply actors comprising of the regulator, financiers, and related service providers. Here is Chair of H-Fields Limited, Senyor Hosi, on how the system will improve checks and balances for the regulator.
Whatever they say is what MPBS has to take. But now, with this system, you have to validate the basis upon which you are actually asking for a certain access to show that you can really deliver.
Another critical offering by the system is the provision of the supply risk management system for financiers.
IoTs are funding the sector. So anybody who's funding the sector will find this a lot more functional for their credit risk management.
H-Field Limited insists that the operations of Stock Track will not affect the price of petroleum products. Based on this, H-Fields maintains the proposed system will ensure primary supply assurance and provide a risk management system rather than a revenue assurance measure, and duplicity of functions has been bandied about.
And that is a Business Desk report, and that's all for business on Newsnight.
Back thank you very much.
Evans.
We can do sports now. Ms. Bow is here with the very latest.
Yeah, Evans, just a bit of update from the WAFU Under-17 tournament. And the third place game between Ghana and Nigeria did take place today. And it was Nigeria who got the better of the Black Starlets in that place. Third place game, defeating them by 3-2. Of course, it was the Nigerians who took the lead, with Ghana equalizing and taking the lead. And 2-2 at halftime. And in the second half, in the dying embers of the game, that's when the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria managed to secure the third goal to clinch the bronze medal in that competition. It lives to be seen now how many teams will get the nod to represent this very zone in the Under-17 tournament, as CAF is still unclear about a number of teams participating. And just a little update also on the Black Stars. We understand tomorrow the head coach of the team, Otuado, is going to unveil the team that will be representing Ghana in the World Cup qualifiers, due to take place a month from now. And we understand that some key players senior players who were missing out on the call-up, and Otuado has since communicated same to them. So tomorrow we'll be waiting for that update. And Lai Kinson has also just released a statement earlier today to apologize to the Ghana Football Association for his behavior and comments which he said were not in the best of taste. And in that statement he released, he said, and I quote, "To the Ghana Football Association President Keti Kreku and the Executive Council, I also want to unreservedly and sincerely apologize for any misunderstanding, inconvenience and embarrassment my decision to announce resignation last Saturday caused. After careful consideration, I could have handled things better, and this will be guiding experience for me going forward." That Lai Kinson following his resignation from his role as the head coach of the under-17 team. Well, the Black Bombers are still in Thailand, and just about 3 more boxes are left to try and secure a ticket in the Olympic Games that is set to take place. So quite a long way to go for the Black Bombers, and we hope they will be able to advance to the semi-finals where they will be able to get the ticket. Evans, that's just what's been happening in sports.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bao. So live here on News Night is on Joy 99.7 FM. Now, as the dredging of the Koli Lagoon continues, questions are emerging about its effectiveness in tackling the broader waste problem plaguing Accra. Now, with a sense of uncertainty lingering in the air, the city awaits decisive action to address its mounting environmental challenges. In today's Filth exhibition, my colleague Adobe Asari takes you to Sodom and Gomorrah.
Has been normalized as a symbol of environmental degradation and waste mismanagement. The government's initiative to dredge the lagoon aimed at tackling the mountain waste problem faces scrutiny as locals express uncertainty about its effectiveness. Kwekwe J, a footwear vendor near the lagoon, highlights the shortfall of the dredging exercise, which aimed at addressing the root cause of the waste issue.
The lagoon is being dredged, but I think it's waste of time and resources, because after this exercise, the lagoon will accumulate filth again. The dredging exercise isn't the solution to our waste problems. There's a root cause to the filth which isn't being tackled.
The absence of bins, a crucial location, Mr. Ajay says, is forcing residents to resort to dumping waste in gutters.
You will observe that there are no bins in Accra and many other towns. The absence of bins, I believe, is the root cause of the filth which we see everywhere in town. If the government really wants to fight these waste problems, they should provide bins.
Reflecting on the deteriorating sanitation issues in Accra, contrary to the president's pledge to make it the cleanest city in Africa, Mr. J placed blame squarely on leadership. He emphasized the normalization of filth in areas like Sodom and Gomorrah, where the stench has become a part of daily life.
There used to be bins at Vantage Point in Accra, and its help kept littering. Now it seems no one cares. I think they should bring back that initiative.
The sentiment expressed by Jay echoes the frustration of many residents who witness the worsening waste crisis without tangible solutions. Despite government's efforts, the underlying issue of waste management remains unresolved, leaving communities grappling with the consequences of environmental neglect. Adobe Asari's report for Joy News.
And that's it for News Night tonight. And up next is the Geek Squad, and Adobia is here With a very interesting conversation I'm looking forward to. We actually did a story a couple of weeks back. It is one that we feel very proud about as Ghanaians because reps from the Ashanti region, a school in Ashanti, and I'm going to leave you to tell us which school was that. They went to the US and they were top of the charts when it comes to robotics.
That's correct. So we are having a conversation with the Prem Pet team. They participated in the RoboFest World Championship in the USA and they won one of the categories. We are going to have a conversation with them. We would like them to share their success story with us.
Well, young Ghanaians doing great things
yes,
here on the Geek Squad.
True.